welcome to this episode of The Daily. My name is Brendan Malone. Well, last week I watched a very interesting and I think important documentary movie called Poverty Inc. And it's all about the westernised model of aid and disaster relief, etc., that we currently operate under in the world at the moment, and the way in which we approach countries that we deem to be in need or who experience some sort of natural disaster or some sort of crisis, and what we do and what we supply into those nations and the impact that this is having. I'd really love to hear from my friends. I actually have got friends who work in this arena. I'm thinking of you, Lucy, in particular, to hear their thoughts if they've seen the documentary, what they thought. If they haven't, you need to go and watch it and then let me know. But for me, after having watched this documentary, it's really opened my eyes a lot to how, in actual fact, we're not really helping places like Africa and Haiti and other places where we rush in with the current model of relief. And it's a documentary that interviews a whole lot of people, including a lot of people from those nations who talk about how the westernised relief model is really problematic, because basically what it does is we turn up and initially you need to be there in those initial stages of a disaster to actually offer aid. But if you stay there and set up shop, which is what's happened in a lot of these places now, you actually end up doing great harm to the local economy, and that does, in the long run, a lot of harm to those nations because it actually keeps them down. You see, if you're going in there to give out, for example, in the case of Haiti, if you're giving out free rice, what you do is you destroy the local rice farming industry, and the local rice farmers then are in real trouble. They lose their income, their employees lose their jobs, and you can see how this has a seriously damaging effect. And it's not just rice. There are lots of things, lots of examples where we've gone in and we've offered free stuff and we've actually thought that we were helping, but what we were really doing is destroying local economies. And I think it's really interesting because what it really, I think, very strongly reiterates is what people in nations like in African nations and parts of Asia and places like Haiti, what they need is they need a lot more open trade with the West. They need us to actually trade with them so they can build their own self-sufficient economies. And it's actually kind of condescending and I think quite imperialist to look down on these people as if they constantly need our help and are incapable of operating their own and very complex and flourishing economies. And there's great examples of this in the documentary. They interview a lot of people from these regions and they are success stories that actually prove, and at the point both good and bad, about how problematic the current aid model has become. The documentary doesn't pull any punches. It certainly challenges a lot of even Christian aid organisations and others that work under this model, the celebrities who endorse it, the NGOs, the EU, the UN, who are all part of propping this whole mechanism up. And basically the documentary says the paradigm is wrong and we need to shift away from it and actually start looking at enabling partnerships rather than these sort of codependency relationships where we actually end up treating these people as if they are incapable of running their own economic affairs and that we should just go in there and constantly give them handouts. Really important and very challenging documentary. For me personally, it certainly made me think and made me realise now that I need to look a lot harder at the organisations who are asking for charitable contributions from me and my wife, about how do we best aid people in those countries. Is it to give money to organisations that are simply going to give handouts, or is it to actually look for ways where we might be able to, for example, buy products out of those nations? So in effect, we're actually supporting their own subsidiarity and building their own stability and economic future, which is far better for them. It's a really good documentary. I really encourage you to watch it. And as I said, Lucy and any of my other friends out there who might happen to work in the whole NGO and aid arena, I would love to hear your feedback about the documentary. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow on The Daily.